Do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you.
Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Willie Jolley, and this is
Dee.
And we are the authors of the book, Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last, 10 Secrets to Shape a Great Marriage. Want to welcome you to the Jolley Marriage Show, another edition of the show that is designed to help you enhance your marriage, get your relationship stronger. And we wrote the book with two goals: to save 1 million marriages and enhance 1 million marriages. We haven't hit our million goal yet, but we're on our way because we got a lot of marriages that have been enhanced and a lot of marriages that have been saved. And we got a lot of people who continue to buy the book. So it's
not just relate. I know what our primary goals.
Wasn't that our goal? Wasn't that what we wrote the book for?
But many people who are not.
You got to talk. Oh, you can't talk over there. People are here. This is where the cameras are, not over there in the other room somewhere. You talk to the camera. Thank you. I'm working with her.
Yes, dear.
All right. So what do you have to say?
Not just married people. We have people who listen who are not married.
But why did we write the book? What was the goal of the book?
Let me think.
To save 1 million marriages, enhance 1 million marriages.
Yes, dear.
There were also some sub goals that we would help people. We got a chapter for people who are not yet married so that they can separate the suspects from the prospects.
But we also discovered that we have people
we've discovered. Okay. Go ahead. Important. That was not why we wrote the book, but we've discovered.
It is very helpful to people who are separated and divorced.
Correct.
How about that?
Now that's good. Which is why we're doing this show tonight. We're doing a special show because we've had people ask. And yesterday, I want to thank all the people at Asbury United Methodist Church, where we visited yesterday. That's my home church where I grew up, but I'm a member now of First Baptist Church of Glen Arden. But I grew up at Asbury United Methodist Church, and I was part of the youth choir, the youth council, and they helped put me through undergrad and graduate school. So I went back to church yesterday because the pastor was being elevated to a new position in the United Methodist Church, and they're going to celebrate her yesterday. So we went to be part of the celebration, and so many people stopped us and said, "We love your marriage show, but please do a show about divorced people." Mm-hmm. I mean, it was so overwhelming. Mm-hmm. That I said, okay, we're going to do it. So
there are divorced people in church.
Yeah. You
might not want to talk about it.
Well, she didn't have a problem talking about it, or a couple of people didn't have a talk. That's not the issue. They want to know, could y'all do a show about it? Mm-hmm. So that's why we're doing this show. The show is Life After Divorce: How to Create a Winning Relationship After You've Been Divorced. Okay. So we're going to dwell on that. Let me take a moment before we get into that to explain why we got these shirts on. We want to say hello to everybody from CARIFA, which is the Caribbean Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors, where I was a keynote speaker last week in Barbados. We had a marvelous time.
Beautiful facility.
Wyndham Sam Lord
Retreat.
Castle Resort. Wyndham Sam Lord Castle Resort. Beautiful facility. And we had a great time, all inclusive. They just fed us and fed us and fed us and fed us and fed us.
And he ate so much sushi was coming out of his ears.
Oh my God. For those who don't know, I love sushi. Love it. And so I ate so much sushi, and they gave you all you can eat. So, I love that. But breakfast,
these
lunch,
are the
and dinner.
colorful shirts that
and the CARIFA.
All the people had the shirts,
and they gave us some shirts for us, and we said, well, we'll celebrate CARIFA and the Caribbean Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors and their 2025 Congress by wearing the shirts tonight. So thank y'all for having us. And here's the thing that blew our mind.
And many couples.
And what blew our mind was all the people who were there, who came up to us and said, "We watch your marriage show all over the country, over the world." These are no one would. There was no one
I
there
would
from
not.
America, was it?
We were from America.
Other than us, I don't think there was anybody from America. But the couple from Belize,
Yes.
they say they watch, and so many of us. So
Panama,
people just
I have
said,
no clue.
"Wow."
So if you don't tell us, we have no way of knowing.
So
If you don't connect with us. We have
yeah,
no way.
you know what I do on my XM show. I've never done it here. Is if you were watching from out of the country, send us an email. Info@williejolly.com. INFO at Willie, WILLIE, Jolly, JOLLEY.
Does that go to WhatsApp too, or not?
Well,
That's
info
a
is
whole
no.
nother thing.
That's just email. Anybody can send an email
Okay.
from anywhere.
But it's a phone call.
If you're making a phone
WhatsApp.
call, it's WhatsApp. We were calling
Too
WhatsApp.
much.
She had no idea. She didn't know she had WhatsApp on her phone. Anyway.
Thank you, dear.
All right, you're welcome. All right, so life after divorce, how to create a winning relationship. Now, as we discussed this topic area with our team this morning, and said, you know, we got so many people at Asbury who've mentioned this, we're going to do a show about it. Our vice president of marketing shared that on a show she watches, I think it's the Divorce Court with Star Jones. She mentioned a Star Jones who went to American University, by the way.
Oh, really?
She was a couple years behind me at American University, and I went to American University. Star Jones mentioned on the show that she is on her second marriage, and after the first marriage had a bump in the road and they got a divorce, she wrote a list of the qualities that she wanted from her next relationship or her future husband, to what she was looking for in a future husband. And Cheryl said that Star Jones, after she had written the list, she did something very interesting. She said, in a moment of reflection, I wonder, do I have all these qualities that I'm looking for someone else? Do I have the qualities that would be appealing to a person for the future? And so what she did at that point was something that we found is a consistency when you're going through a divorce or you've been through a divorce and you're looking for the next relationship. It's taking time to work on self. And that was, she said, Star Jones said, I had to do some self work because maybe I had some hurt from the last relationship. Maybe I had some baggage that I was taking into this new relationship, that I didn't want to take this bad baggage into the relationship and sabotage the new relationship. So working on self-work. And I think that's an important part of this discussion. And that's what we've talked to a couple of people today who said that was one of the things they did before they got into the next relationship, working on self.
Well, I have firsthand knowledge because you're number 2.
I'm number 2. I'm husband number 2. That's correct. Yes. So yeah, and I don't. I've only been married once, but I had numerous relationships before, and some of them were long-term relationships.
They're still not like being married.
No, they're not the same party. All right.
So
why don't you bring in your perspective? Because you got real life perspective.
Okay. So reflection is for me. Reflection is the first thing.
Reflection. Okay.
Reflection. What went wrong? What do you think went wrong? That was me.
Okay, that was you. Okay.
So, life after divorce. What do you do? So there are 2 things I think that could be number 1.
Okay.
So, reflecting. So okay, so you went through a divorce, or you're separated, and the whole stuff is a mess. What happened?
Why did it happen? And that's what you say.
Well, you need to know. You
have a conversation with yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
What happened? I mean, you might go to a counselor. You can go as a single person, as you don't have to go with the spouse that you divorced or whatever. go for yourself
Mm.
for an analysis as to, okay, now I am in the process of getting divorced, I'm separated, there's no going back. What happened here? And of course, you just have your thoughts because you're viewing it through your own lens. And your lens, of course, is filtered by the fact of your own life experiences, how you see relationships in general, right?
Yeah.
How you communicated or you thought you communicated. So I think the first thing is, oh, what happened? At least let me think through what I think happened.
Okay.
And talk to a counselor, right? And then I think along that same line, what?
I'm looking if you got both your colors up on each side. Okay. I know you have you cool like that. You
the
chill
next
like
thing
that.
is grieving, because I think it's a loss. And I know that I grieve because it was, for me, it was failure. And I can honestly say, you might like, whoa, it's failure. Well, I wasn't a success at it. My parents have been married forever and a day. And I thought I had good role models, but evidently I didn't know what I was doing. So,
did you get any grief counseling or any counseling? Because
no,
look,
not
Terrence
yet.
just sent a nice note. He said, this is our friend Terrence Sr. I've been divorced twice, and therapy is so important. Great investment. That is why I am a champion for your book, because he says our book is like a way of giving therapy through written word.
And I think therapy now is not a dirty word.
No, it shouldn't
when you
be.
consider the fact that it was over 40 years ago that I went through a divorce, separation, and over 40 years ago.
How do you know it was over 40 years ago? Because next month we will celebrate our 40th anniversary. So 40 years of marriage.
That was not.
And we dated for 4 years before we got married. Go ahead.
That was not something that people rarely talked about. Today, it is easier and much more accepted to talk about failed relationships, what went wrong. That was not something more than 40, 50 years ago that people readily talked about, and certainly not counseling. And I think counseling is an absolute necessity because you get to talk it out. And I think what therapists do is you pay them to ask probing questions to help you arrive at a lot of your own conclusions. Because I think the ones who are great at it, they're questioning to get you to unpack what actually went wrong. Okay, so
let me. I'm going to do like I was interviewing you on my XM show, so I haven't been through a divorce. Sharon Fanto just chimed in. She said I'm with hubby number 2 as well. Yes, Dee, I was just going to say I would not be 20 years happily married for the second time without going to therapy after divorce to see what I could have done differently. Wow, great insight, Sharon.
Excellent.
And
right.
she and her husband got a great marriage,
Yes.
and they recently moved to Florida from Atlanta, and we've been friends with them since she was in Hampton Roads. Anyway, so okay, let me make sure I got this. So we're trying to help people who have been divorced, who have asked us about talking about what do you do to get a winning relationship.
So you want to move forward. So this particular person from Sunday wants to move forward, wants to have a meaningful, happy relationship, right?
Yes.
And that's, she talked to you more in detail than me. She's a lovely young lady, but has gone through a painful divorce. So the first thing you got to work, we're saying you have to work on you have to know what's wrong with you. What went
not wrong. I don't like that word.
Okay.
Right.
What went wrong?
Okay.
What could you have done differently?
Okay. Now
given the situation. And I know one of the problems that I had in terms of grieving is being able to forgive myself, because I had an excellent role model as my parents, but I felt like I had failed.
So I could chime in there. So when we started dating, Dee had said she was never getting married again.
I said I was never getting married again because I had failed. And my challenge was I really didn't talk about it enough to my parents. And I was ashamed to even tell my parents, pastor and first lady, that I was even separated.
Right.
It took me over a year to do that. And when I finally told my parents, went home and finally told my parents, and my father said, "Is that all? Are you okay? Did he physically hurt you? Then you got to pick up the pieces and move on." It was such a relief. The communication is a problem that I have. Things that I think about because I'm more of an introvert in terms of I think, and don't really articulate what I'm thinking. So that is something that I discovered I really had to work on. So how do you know if you're pleasing somebody if you don't tell me? When you do that annoys me. Well, please don't do that.
Okay, so that was one of the conversations that came up in our conversation with our staff today. Was that are you communicating that things have changed or something's you're not happy about? Have you communicated it? And that's one of the things that I think is important. Terrence said today, therapy is so important. And today people can buy your book to start their therapeutic process. We thank you for that. And that's true. Brenda said, communication is the key. And Karen Horry said, good evening. And this is our conversation about life after divorce, how to create a winning relationship post-divorce so you can move on. Here's one of the things that we brought up today. We were sharing a story about that a friend of mine told me that she had been, one of her friends had communicated to her that her husband, they were at a party somewhere, and the friend came over to my friend and said, "Hey, girl, they're sorors," and says, "I just want to let you know, I'm thinking about getting a divorce because I'm not happy." And she said, "What?" And she kind of shocked her because she didn't know what to say or what to do because it was just out of the blue. And she said, "Well," and she said, "He's a nice man. He pays the bills, but I'm not happy. There's no excitement." And what our staff person said today was, the person you were when you got married was not the same person you were 10 years down the road. Now, here's the question. Did she tell him?
Well, that was the first thing I said.
That was the first thing you said.
I said, well, has this been communicated to her spouse? Probably. I don't know.
Probably not. Probably not. Just, I'm not happy. Why are you not happy? Sometimes you can't articulate it. But she said he was boring. He worked. He was a wonk kind of guy. And I knew the guy, and he was kind of wonkish.
What does that mean?
By wonkish, I mean there was no spontaneity. There was no.
So he liked routine.
Yeah, he.
And you didn't know that, and you didn't know that before you married this person. This person does the same thing, wears the uniform, and probably doesn't like change.
Doesn't like change, correct.
I'm guessing. I don't know. I don't know.
Doesn't like change. Maybe
so I'm saying the first thing is she needs to go talk to somebody. She needs therapy.
Again, going back to that therapy thing,
which is a modern thing.
And a lot of people didn't do that. And so one of the things we say is you get therapy by yourself. All right, now let's go.
Over the phone.
You can get phone.
Via Zoom.
Yeah, nowadays it's a lot
you need to talk to a therapist to get clear as to what your issues are.
Right.
Before you can even tell, your mate, your significant other. Because you have to unpack actually what you're feeling.
Terrence says, if you want to find out how selfish you are, get married. Marriage will bring out your selfish side. I don't know. I have not had that experience but I have found out that it's very important that you communicate, and that's what a lot of the folks who are saying on the chat.
But you know what? If you both are givers, okay. When I say givers, I have not found in our marriage any selfishness. That has never been an issue.
No, it has not. It has not. We've been very giving to each other.
Very giving. Now, the thing that I had to learn was being accountable. Oh, I'm going out. I was so used to being by myself all those years. And you say, well, where are you going? And to myself, I'm thinking, why does he know where I'm going? And the next level is, well, you know, he cares about me. So we need
I said, where you going? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you going?
I had to learn the value of just checking in because we care about each other.
Right.
And in today, with the craziness, now you can, I don't know how to do it, but you track each other.
Right. You have your trackers on your phone.
Not unless you run around and you don't want somebody else to know where you are.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a security.
So let's go back through these points. First of all, is understanding that you might need to check yourself and work on self so that you don't take your baggage from the last relationship to the new relationship.
But specifically, number one, you want to reflect on what happened here. What happened? What's the story?
Okay, but how about, a lot of people.
And then you need to grieve. No, this is me with my list.
Right.
And then you need to grieve because there's a loss. There's a loss of time, of energy, of money, and this whole relationship is a loss.
Okay. Good.
And if you have children, it's an even bigger mess.
Okay.
So you need to grieve. Then what you gonna do? Then I say you need to work on yourself.
Okay.
Building your own self-esteem. Because if you've had a loss, well, some of this loss was due to me. You weren't married by yourself. So nobody's perfect, right?
Right.
So I'm saying from my experience, I then had to say, okay, I need to figure out how to improve myself.
Okay.
And deal with the fact that I had to learn how to communicate more effectively, to not just mull a million and one things around in my head, but to be able to articulate and to learn how to do it in such a fashion that someone else could actually understand what I was feeling.
Okay.
And so I work and deal with you on that now.
Brenda said, good point. Very good point. Okay, what else?
And then you can start to work on what do you want? What are your values? What do you value? Now, I really didn't do that because I had made the decision I was never going to get married again. I was like, I'm done with this. I don't want to spend any time trying to figure out a relationship. It's too painful and I'm done. But if you decide you don't want to take that extreme approach, and I realize that I am extreme.
You are.
You
are. But then the unmovable object met the unstoppable force. I was the unstoppable force. So she's saying, no, I'm not getting married. Well, and I meet her.
No. First of all, I wasn't going to date you.
That's true.
And then you just you wore me down with that.
I wore you down.
You were warm and friendly, and you didn't get offended because I gave you the wrong number. You cornered me. I got caught in a Robin's drugstore checking out.
I saw her in the drugstore. And I said, hold up. Now, this is the second time I've seen her, and she had given me a bogus number the first time.
He was very pleasant. He wasn't ugly. And I was like, oh my God. And I made the checkout counter, and I couldn't get away. And he comes over, and he's just very pleasant. That's your personality. You're very, very pleasant and warm. And then I was like, what'd you say? You gave me.
I said, that number you gave me was no good. It didn't work. So why don't we do this for real right now? Why don't you give me your real number? And we, maybe we had
And
lunch.
he was one friend.
I said, let's have
felt
lunch.
bad.
Yeah, she felt bad. So then she
bad.
gave me the real number. Okay.
Yes.
And then
Then it was we had lunch.
Cheryl even said we never told her this story.
then you met me for lunch when I was working on.
You were working for the association, right?
That was a disaster.
Disaster! Because I had braids in my hair. I hadn't long hair then, and I had braids. Mac Daddy, that's what Terrence said. I was Mac Daddy. I had braids and I had a hat on.
He had a hat on.
And
they wear hats now. This is 40-some years ago.
Yeah, hat.
I said, oh my God.
Yeah, hat.
So that didn't go well.
That didn't go well. I said, that's a mean old lady. But I let her go. I gave her some grace. Gave her some braids. Yeah, I had braids, Cheryl. Braids. I had long braids.
He had hair.
I had hair.
Okay. So then that was a disaster. He brought me back to my office. Then you said, Black Caucus.
Black Caucus.
And I'm playing for this Black Caucus at the Washington Hilton Hotel. And I'm inviting you. And I was like, oh, okay.
I told him
had no intentions of going. I was in the bed. And what did he do?
It was a Friday night. I love
going to bed early.
So I called at 9:00. I'm getting ready to go on, do my set and perform. And she's not there. I call her. And she answered and said, I thought you were going to be here.
I'm running late. I was in the bed. I had no intentions of going. None. Okay. So here we go.
She comes to the gig.
But the Washington Hilton is on Connecticut Avenue.
She lived on Connecticut
Avenue.
So about a mile and a half away.
So I got myself together and I came there and he was playing and his mom was there. Somebody else I told. Oh, by the way, I had taught him in high school. That was another reason why I was like, oh God, I can't deal with this. Okay, anyway. Several other students that I taught, right? Females, and his mom was there. And just he was playing a set. The first and last time I've ever seen him in a blue shirt and playing the drums.
Because the drummer didn't show up.
Is that what?
Yeah, or the drummer couldn't come or something, and I had to drum and sing. Okay, had to play the drums and sing.
That's why I never seen you play the drums again. Hilarious. I did not know that. I keep saying that's the first and last time we ever seen you play the drums.
So I play the drums, I sing, and I sing a song.
Was Lady.
Lady, I'm your knight in shining armor, and I love you.
And I got the strangest feeling that this young man was singing to me. And you know what I did? I got up. I said goodnight to everybody at the table, including his mother, and I went home and got back in the bed. And what did he do?
I called her on the next break and said, you left. You did not give me the opportunity to walk you to your car.
Chivalry is not dead.
How terrible. You owe me a date.
And he was so nice. He was circling the wagons. He was cornering me. And I was like, ugh.
So I worked on her and called her. And we talked on the phone one night for over an hour and just talked and realized we had a lot in common. We had values that were consistent and we became friends. Over time, we became friends.
So going back to
values,
reflecting on how you ended up separated, divorced, right? Grieve, go through that, right? Then work on your self-esteem. Then decide on your values. You got to identify what are your values, what is important to you, because what is important to you is probably what you want to see in somebody else.
Right.
So we ended up discovering after you wore me down, because I was not really going to talk to you, that we really had same Christian values.
Yeah.
Loved our moms and dads. You had a brother. I had a brother. So we just started, and I felt safe. And because he started to invite me to functions where he might be playing, but there were all these other women there. I was like, oh, so he's not really trying to hit on me. We're developing a friendship, because he had other girlfriends. I was like, oh, it is interesting. And I felt comfortable.
I was a man about town, but I had my eye on her. I was zoning in. Okay, but I was working on her because there was something about her that I liked. What it was she stimulated me intellectually. We talked about ideas. We never had boring, stupid kind of conversations.
You actually hired me for.
I hired for my company.
For your marketing.
Yeah, she brought a little attaché case in and was very sophisticated.
I had my initials on it. Had D on my little portfolio.
Anyway, what we did. Now, here's what we did. One thing, though, I will say on my side was that she would say, I failed in marriage. I'm not doing it again. And I would say to her, that's not true. You didn't fail in marriage. Your marriage was, first of all, you got married too young.
Right.
And I'd say that. And two is that y'all had different values. He's a nice guy.
We had not really developed a friendship to hang out together.
That's right.
Friends. That's what I would
go
say.
Back to the book, folks. Book chapter number 1.
Chapter number 1, friends first.
Friends first. Not just somebody who looked good, somebody who got it going on, who handsome or pretty. Friends first.
Friends first. And then you start to talk and to communicate, and you can see that what you have in common. Then the communication. When I say improve, for me, improving my communication skills, being able to articulate, this is what I'm thinking.
Right. Let me take a moment.
And to say it in a fashion
O'Shane Muda is black from Barbados. You see, we got our Carifa shirts on. So thank you for tuning in tonight. Thank you.
Share us with other people.
Tell everybody. Yeah, tell all the folks in Barbados that we got our shirts on. Terrence said about my line. That's the Mac line. You didn't give me an opportunity.
He was so charming and so pleasant.
So, okay, but let's just take your part, because my part was who I was. But how you came around was one, you looked at what mistakes that I made. 2, you went through the grieving process, the loss. 3, you probably talked to somebody. You didn't go to counseling, but we recommend counseling, personal counseling. Then 4, you also did
I immersed myself in my church.
Yeah, you got very involved in the church.
But back then, I can say that the counseling, sitting down with counseling, even at church, I can't really say that we had that. And back then, I joined Canaan Baptist Church in DC as a way of having an environment, like a family environment, that I could kind of glean from and lick my wounds.
Okay, so you worked and you did work on yourself, and then you started working on your values, make sure you're clear. And then I like what Star Jones said. You might not have done it because you weren't planning to get married. No. You weren't planning, but Star Jones said she made a list of what she was looking for in her next relationship or her next mate. And then once she got the list, she asked herself, do I fit the qualities on the list? And she did the work to make herself better. And realize that therapy helps you with your baggage. Because a lot of times in marriages, people take the bad baggage with them to the new marriage. You got all this bad energy.
Which will last less long than the first one.
Right.
And by the time you get to the third one, it's less long than the second.
Right.
And then so on.
Look, our time is up. We're way over time. But this was so bright. And if y'all would like us to continue this line of thought, let us know. Send us an email, info@williejolly.com. Info@williejolly.com.
Because about half of the population has gone through a divorce.
Yes. Terrence said lots of forgiveness, self-forgiveness is a major part of this.
That's why I said first with the grieving, and then I had to forgive my anger with myself. What did I do wrong?
Right.
Did I let my parents down? Everybody who bought gifts for the super expensive wedding.
Let's see. Foolishly Sober said this was great advice. Terrence said let's continue. Okay,
we have a break. This is Memorial Week.
So next week it will be Memorial Day. We're going to play a replay next week of one of our most popular shows, probably. Just replay something.
Check with Cheryl.
Good show. Can you do part 2? You got it.
Yes.
Okay, we got enough people who've said that because she still got more stuff together to talk about. So we didn't get to all of them. We'll do a part 2 when we come back.
We're off Memorial.
We're off
Monday.
next week because we want y'all to have a barbecue and eat some ribs or chicken or beans.
That's because that's what he's eating.
I'm gonna be eating. She's a vegan, so she won't be eating it. All right. Thank y'all all for joining in. Thank you for all of the folks who, again, in the Caribbean.
And you know what? And I have resources. I actually did some research on two books that I've actually read over time. One is Daring Greatly by Brene Brown, that our friend Stan is a consultant for, which is a great, because that book talks about how to deal with yourself. What are your vulnerabilities? Okay. And I've also identified, they didn't have that back then, like online communities, because you learn by listening to other people's stories. So that's similar to what I'm going through.
Right. Terrence again said this book is part of your work. Make love, make money, make it last. Make love, make money, make it last. And get it and share it with everybody you know. Get 2 copies of this book and tell people that this is something that they could be a blessing to them. Go to jolleymarriage.com. Go to jolleymarriage.com. Now, people in the Caribbean, you can get, anybody can get the digital version.
Get the digital
You don't have to have it shipped over to you and all that cost.
For $100.
Yeah, when we shipped a package to somebody, it can cost almost $100 of all my books. And so just get the digital download and you can digitally read the book. When you get the book, though, do copies, 2 copies, one for you and one for your significant other. So y'all can grow together, live together, and
or just
flourish.
Download each and read it.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, each one of them can get a copy and download it on their iPad or whatever, okay, and read it together. We want you not to read one and then the other, read it together.
Because you lose momentum.
That's right.
And you need to answer the questions separately.
Yes.
Then come together and talk about it.
All right. Our time is up. We're going to be not live. We're going to be Memorex next week. Some people don't even know what. Some people don't even know what that.
Don't even know what Memorex.
Remember, that was a commercial back. Is this live or is it Memorex? That was a cassette tape. But it's going to be.
Oh my goodness, I don't know what cassette tape.
All right, so it's going to be a replay next week.
Thank you.
So y'all can have a great Memorial Day. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Safe, please.
Safe Memorial Day.
Yeah.
We'll see you in 2 weeks, 2 Mondays from now, which will be the 31st, the 2nd of June 2nd. Yeah.
Oh no.
I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is. Let's see. The 31st is a Saturday. The 1st is a Sunday, and the 2nd is a Monday. And so we'll see you on that Monday, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Well, whatever. The first Monday, 2 weeks, we'll see you. Whatever it is, I'm thinking it's the 2nd, but I don't know. Anyway, thank y'all for your support. I want to thank everybody who came up to us in the Caribbean.
You know what? That was
encouraging. Oh my God, it was shocking how many people.
It was encouraging to us that we're making a difference, and for us to keep going.
And around the world, the people in other countries who say, "We watch your show. Oh my gosh, we love your show on marriage." What? Wow! So thank y'all for your encouragement. We do it. We haven't charged anything. We do want you, if you want to grow your relationship, to get our marriage repair series. And you can get that at jolleymarriage.com/events. Invest in your marriage with that. jolleymarriage.com/events. Get the 2 books at jolleymarriage.com, either digitally or physical. We'll sign the physical ones. And then do what we're talking about. Talk to each other. Love on each other. Be kind to each other.
That's why reading is so important, because it helps you with your vocabulary and increases your ability to have words to communicate.
Words to communicate. That's why I love her. She's smart. All right, look, we gotta go. We are way over. Thank y'all. See y'all next week or week after next. God bless you. This is Dr. Willie Jolley.
This is Dee.
We out. We'll see you later, and blessings to you.
Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you.